Good evening and namaskaram. This Shivratri looks a little different for me and for most of you. For past so many years, we've been congregating at uh, the ghats in Kashi. It has been a phenomenal experience whenever we went there. Any other place we do, it being Shivratri, has its own significance and its own impact on us. But Kashi is special, close to our heart, and Kashi Ghat and the city itself is phenomenal. So we couldn't start this today's celebrations without mentioning the beautiful city of Kashi. It is uh, customary that when we go to Kashi, that on that day we just keep walking through different ghats, see all the things that happen there, and a lot of legends and mystic stories are spoken about. And Kashi brings out that kind of an experience in all of us, whoever visits. And Shivratri is very special. And there are lots and lots of stories, mythical stories about the origin of Shivratri. My favorite one is that when the Palai Manthan, the churning of the sea was happening, a deadly poison came out. And the Devas got really scared because it could destroy the all the worlds. So they ran to Shiva. And Shiva, to save the world, took it, he gulped it down, and it frozen, solidified in his throat, making it blue. So he got the name Neelakanta, the blue-throated one. But Parvati, the Shakti, was really worried, and whole night she sat up meditating and in prayers for his life. So we follow the tradition. We sit awake because when she was in prayers and meditation, it seemed the whole universe showered their grace on her. So whoever meditates on this day gains the same energy as long as we keep ourselves open. So one day in a year, we all sit together wherever we are and meditates or just being awake and in awareness of our own self, of mysticism, of magic, of spirituality, of meditation, of soul, atma, all these things somehow come to our mind when we sit on this night. Since Shakti was in prayer for Shiva, it is all about Shiv Shakti. And today we, as a race, is in search of an identity. We are all striving to understand ourselves. We have a life to lead. At the same time, we are also searching. We are also perplexed by the things that are happening. One year life is so great, and another year life is so unnerving. Now the whole of humanity is going through a period which, from a spiritual point of view, has done tremendous good each one of us, because we started looking at our own self in a more deep manner. A sort of introspection started happening. Minimalism is something that we at least give a thought of. Hoarding has come down. Thinking about life and its perplexities are happening. We are different. In this last 1 year, last Shivratri to this Shivratri, a lot of things happened. A lot of churning happened. And in that churning, we are really, really looking deep within. And what we are looking is actually there. We need to look consciously and constantly. Then it will come out. Shiv and Shakti. That has always been the theme of Shivratris. Whenever we go to Kashi Ghats, we go to the Kedar Ghat with the Shiv Shakti Mandir, the temple. Beautiful energies. So it is in life also, it is all about Shiv Shakti. Why Shiv Shakti in life? Because at one level, we say we are a soul, that we are an Atma. Atma is not either male or female. It's neither, or it is both. But when we took birth into either as a male or a female. And we hold within that energy, masculine energy or a feminine energy. Both has its own characteristics. If you look at each other, it is as if we are looking at two different species. So the way we look at the world, a male and female, man and woman, the way we look at the world is so different. The language is different. We all speak a certain language, but the way we communicate, that language is very, very different. It is interesting to fall in love with your woman or your man. But after that, the struggle happens to understand this language. And from a spiritual point of view, that is the whole journey. To understand the other aspect of ourselves. If we have been incarnating on this world many, many lifetimes, it cannot be true that we were taking birth always only as a man or as a woman. It will always be a mixture of these two. A few lifetimes as a man, a few lifetimes as a woman. Or a lifetime as a man, next lifetime as a woman. Because as a soul, we are neither man or a woman. So if our journey is to go back to the soul consciousness, we cannot go back with half understanding. We need to go back with full understanding. So if we take birth and see the world and perceive the world through the eyes of a man alone, we are not complete. Same is true if we see the world and perceive the world only through the eyes of a woman. Because masculine energies and feminine energies, they are very different in their perception, in their understanding, in what they give out. So the journey is all about changing from one to the other until we master both. In the beginning, we learn to master one aspect. Then as we move forward in our soul journey, at some point of time, we start imbibing the other aspect also. As a man, you would want to explore the feminine aspect. As a man, you would really want to understand and hold on to your own energy, but also understand the feminine energy. And as a woman, same way, holding on to one's energy, but trying to understand masculine energy. In the physical world, we have many things, many situations wherein this interaction between masculine and feminine energy happens in our life. Marriage is one such institution. From a spiritual point of view, marriage is designed for each party in it to understand and appreciate the other energy. If you're a man, understand feminine energy well, in all its aspects. Traditionally, a masculine energy is said to be based on power, and a feminine energy based on love and compassion and care. So as a man, to understand that aspect is so important. And for a woman to understand the masculine aspect is also important. Being in the man's body, we understand a masculine energy. We learn to use that energy properly, consciously as we go forward in our soul journey. Same thing with the feminine energy. In a women's body, we all learn how to understand our own energy. But this is an institution, beautiful institution, which gives us a lot of learning in quotes, to understand our own energy and the energy of the our spouse. Towards the end of our soul journeys on planet Earth, we grow so much that we start holding within our body, within our psyche, within our consciousness, not only our own energy, but the energy of the other. If you're a man, the woman's energy, and if you're a woman, a man's energy. And at the end of soul journey, when you become a Shiva, within the same body, you are a complete man and you are a complete woman. That is Shiv Shakti. It is not half Shiva and half Shakti, but it is full Shiva and full Shakti. But it is so difficult to depict on a physical plane, both 100%, 100%. So that is why all the Ardhanarishwara pictures or Sankalp has half Shiva and half Shakti. It is not half. Intrinsically, it is 100%, full, 100%, 100%. So we, each one of us are on this journey to take it to 100%, 100%. If someone goes to Shiva, a man goes to Shiva, he can understand him totally. All his problems, challenges, he understands. Because he is a complete man. And if a woman goes to Shiva, he will understand her also completely. Because he is a complete woman as well. So how do we reach there? We reach there only through conscious use of our intellect, conscious learning through our heart. And that is provided to us by our spouse. Whatever we need to learn only will come to us. Sometimes it is a very loving relationship, and certain times it would be on the other end of the spectrum of love. Both offers us so much learning opportunities to understand ourselves. So this Shivratri, each one of us should take this vow to consciously observe ourselves in our interaction with our spouse. We can learn about the masculine and feminine energy in the society, but it can never be as good within the family, within the confinement of your own room, when you and your spouse is interacting. That can be the most enlivening, enlightening experience. Always pause whenever this interaction happens, from today onwards, tonight onwards. The back of your mind, there should be this talk going on. What is she teaching me? Or what is he teaching? What is it that I'm supposed to learn from this relationship? It is easy to let go and move on. But the opportunities lost are also immense. Learn to imbibe and look forward to whatever is being offered. Whatever we have to learn will come our way. And it will never come in the way we want it. It will come. It is important for us to accept this truth. The learning always comes. It is our duty to understand and look at it so that we gain from it. Our spouse teaches us so much. Shiva teaches so much. Shakti teaches so much. So let this year be the year of Shiva and Shakti for you. Moment to moment, use this as an opportunity to grow. Do not complain about your spouse. Not to somebody, not even to yourself. People are people. They are also growing. The way you want to grow, your spouse also wants to grow. The way you have taken a plunge into spirituality, your spouse may not have taken. That's okay. It doesn't matter. That is the way it is designed. When the right time comes, the spouse also will take the baby steps. He or she may take the baby steps, then run away, then come back. All that will happen. You be steadfast in your journey. Like Parvati stayed all night, meditating and in prayers. Let us also do that. Day to day, moment to moment, being in awareness. And if we do that, our life really go on a different level. As a man, it is important for us to understand emotions. Understand this concept of love and compassion. It is there. But the way a woman understands is totally different. The way they perceive the world is different. And for a woman, it is important to understand a man's calculative nature or conquest-oriented nature. For him, it is all about conquering. And when he conquers one, he wants to conquer another one. For a woman, it is about getting something and loving it completely. So we need to imbibe these two aspects, both these aspects into ourselves. Let us focus on that. And this year, let us take meditation to a different level. We've been doing this Brahma Muhurta meditation. We said till Shivaratri. Now Shivaratri is getting over. That doesn't mean next week onwards you wake up late in the morning. Successful people are people who stayed a little longer. That's all. They don't do things only for a week or for 41 days. They do it until it becomes part of them. So on this most auspicious day of Shivaratri, let us take this vow that meditation is going to be part of me for the rest of my life. And those of you who are strong-minded, who want to take it to the next level, learn to implement this old adage, early to bed and early to rise. Go to bed early and rise during Brahma Muhurta and sit in meditation with yourself. It will change your life, and when your life changes, your family's life will change. And the way your spouse and children and parents will take care of you will be completely different. The way the world will treat you will be different. The way the world is seen by you will be different. Everything will change. Let this Shivaratri be the beginning of that journey for me.